Bug Implementer.
Welcome back to this daily training session. In the last one we learned how to change node properties, and now we are going to combine this with buttons so that we have some input. We press this button, and when we press the button we change properties of this label node in this case. So without further ado, let's dive right in. To make this work we need to create a scene. We use the node of type node as the root node, add a label to it, and add a button to it. Then we need to add a script to the label node. And what we have done so far was we created the ready function and we hovered over, for example, the text property of this label. And then we did something like this. Now we know the property with the name text of type string, so we know what to put inside of this property to override it. It's a string. We do it with this equal sign, and now we put in a string, let's say hello world again. And we save the scene and run this current scene. And we see tiny on the top left corner there is something. Let's enter some default text, and now make it bigger. We can scroll down to theme overrides and font sizes and type in something like 70 for now to make it really big. So now we see it starts with default text, but when we run the current scene, immediately it gets overwritten by what we have assigned inside of our script. So now we want to make this a little bit more interactive. So we added a button to the scene. Let's drag it to the middle as well and write something like press me to see something. And also for this one, let's make the font size a little bit bigger. Let's make it 70 as well and drag it to the middle somewhat. So now we have a button, but nothing happens when we click this button. How can we change something when we press this button? Every node in Godot has so-called signals. Those are events that we can send out to scripts, and we can send it from one node to another node. And as you can see, the button has a signal called pressed, and it is exactly what you think it is. So this signal we can send out when the button is pressed, then do something. Let's see how this works. So you need to change to the node tab from the inspector here, and then you double click on pressed, and then you find a node with a script on it. In this case it's the label node, and here we want to change something, so let's pick this one. And as you can see, button connecting from, so we are connecting a signal from the button to the label. We leave everything else as is and hit connect. Now we are inside of our script, and we have magically, there has been added a new function. This is what we have done. This function is our signal. So now what do we see? What can we observe? We see a new icon besides the button, and we see node has one connection, click to show signal doc. So if it is not opened yet, we can click it and we immediately see, okay, the pressed signal is used on the label node. We can even, if we were like here, we can even double click on it and we jump immediately to this line of code. We can see also an icon right here, which means basically we can click on it as well. When we do this, we see the source is the button node, and we send the press signal to the target, which is the label. This is how we know that a signal is at work right here. So this is not a normal function. This is a function that we have created with the signal editor. Let's check this out. If we are not sure what is happening, we can print stuff out. Let's delete this line with pass. Pass, by the way, is just a keyword so that you do not have this error message. So you can always write pass. For example, here too, we could write pass and there would be no error message. If it is not here, we will get an error message. So this is pass. Basically meaning just please don't throw an error. I know that the function body is empty, so please shut the fuck up. So let's print something to the console. This is why we learned the print statement. And let's write something like a button is pressed. Save it and run the current scene. So now we investigate our connection. Is it really working? And as you can see down here, when I press the button, let's run this again. When I press the button, our little print statement, our little string that we print out to the console is printed every time I press this button. This tells us that the signal is kind of working, so code is being executed. This is what this tells us. So the button press signal is running. So let's go one step further. We already know how to change property values, so let's pick one. Let's pick the text again, the text property of this label, text. Set it to magic or something like that, whatever you want. Default, we have the default text and start with the default text. And now when I hit this button, it changes to magic, because when we press this button, Godot looks inside of this function right here, of this signal function, and it reads out this line or everything that is inside of this function body and reads it out and processes and executes it. So we override the text to be magic instead of default text. Let's change one property more, but I think you get it by now. Let's change the modulate as well. Modulate and override it with a new color. Let's pick something like this, a yellow color. And now if I press the button, the text is not only changed, but also yellow. And that's basically it for now. This is what we are going to practice now. For the practice, I recommend you to create a scene. Take type node as the root node, add a label to it, add a button to it, and then you increase the font size for the label, increase the font size for the button so that it is nice and big. You can enter some default text. Just enter something you like. For the button, the same procedure. You take seam overrides, font size, and you write, I don't know, 70, and you write something inside of the button property. This is a button. You can save the scene there, and then you will add a script to the label. Hit create, and instead of using the ready function as we did before, you are going to click on the button, choose the node tab right here, select the pressed signal by double clicking on it, search the label in your scene tree right here, and connect it to the label node. Now, if you are not inside of your script, you can click on this little icon right here, or you can click on the script icon. And now you are inside of this script. And now you are going to print out something. Test. Test if the button is working. And if you can see something right here, it is working indeed. So the code is being executed. And now you can change the text property, for example, of this label and say, hello world. And now as we can see, it starts with this gibberish. And if we click this button, it now says hello world. You can choose another property. Let's do the modulate property again. Change the color as well. This is how you can do it. You can add more properties to the list. The properties from the last exercise, for example, like position, scale, skew, rotation. and you're going to change them when you click the button. If you are done, you just close this, you delete all of this, and you start fresh again. And my recommendation, as always, is mix and match those exercises I gave you in the last few days and do the stuff you feel not confident enough right now, and repeat them and add this new one into the mix and do it for like 10 minutes also. You know, you get the drill. I give you the exercises and you choose what to practice. You need to practice the things you feel weak. And if you still feel weak with printing out strings, then go back to day 1 and exercise this one until you feel confident enough to go on. This is very important. The best sign is the exercise should really feel boring, and you should do it. You should be able to do it from the top of your head, so without peaking. Then you are ready to go on. As always, repetition is key, and relax, have fun, and see ya in the next one.